In this video, I'm going to be breaking down 4 signs that you've sold your soul and you don't even know it yet. These were some of the most shocking signs to me that once I was able to really grasp what was happening, my whole life changed. So these are 4 signs you may have sold your soul, you don't even know what's happening, and more importantly, how to get it back quickly. So my name is Jake Ducey with jakeducey.com, and my free success hypnosis is right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. Let's dive right into this video. Sign number 1 is you value material world, identity, and significance over your connection to spirit and your true self. When you have become so attached to your illusory identity, your fake identity, the third dimensional reality, which is really just a little bandwidth of energy that we call visible light. That's all it is. But when you become so attached to that and your consciousness when your consciousness collapses into an obsessive focus and attachment to your 5 senses and your nervous system, then what happens is you totally identify with yourself as a body. And when you totally identify with yourself as a body and you derive your identity from it, then what happens is you've severed your connection to your true self. You're a spiritual being in a physical body. And more importantly, you've severed your connection to God, to spirit. And when this happens, that's what creates the obsessiveness of materialism culture. And for some people, you might go, well, I'm not a materialist. I live simply. I don't really care about this and that. Well, it's a materialist in many forms. One is through possessions, but the other is through getting significance in this world. And it might be through getting the approval of others. It might be from an attachment to the opinions of others, how other people view you. You want people to view you in a certain light. It's when your identity and your story of self, if we break it down to the most simple way, it is an attachment to the thoughts and the stories in your head that create not only your self-identity and your self-image, but they also govern the entire story of your life. It's not you. It's not who you are. And when you recognize that, you reclaim your soul instantly. Number 2, your worldview is shaped by mainstream media, social media algorithms, which are really just a aspect of mind control, where the algorithms are written in a certain way to promote the propaganda that the global elites want, that the technocracy wants. So I said mainstream media, when your worldview is shaped by mainstream media, social media algorithms, which is really just a mathematical way in order to influence perception towards a desired end. And it always slants in one direction. Next is government agencies, Hollywood, career politicians, and corporate America. So when your worldview is shaped by any of these things, by mainstream media, social media algorithms, government agencies, Hollywood, career politicians, or corporate America, what happens is your mind is no longer yours and your life is no longer yours. It is influenced by the cultural engineers of society. That's what all of those preceding lists that I stated have in common. They are the cultural engineers of society. Mainstream media, social media algorithms, government agencies, Hollywood, career politicians, or corporate America. And Mark Twain said it another way. He said, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. Jim Rohn said another way. He said, walk away from the 99%, walk away from the 97%. And the thing is that these entities that I listed, that's what controls the 99%. And the way that power structures have historically always operated is that first they come for your mind, then they capture your soul. So first they control your mind through mind control and propaganda and behavioral science and perception influence. After they have that, then they come for your soul. Then they try to disconnect you from your true self. They try to disconnect you from the image of God in which you're made in, your spiritual powers, your spiritual nature, yourself as spirit, because you're a spiritual being in a physical body. And so you stop and you go, is this really true? Is this idea that I believe that the government said really true? Right? Is this idea that Hollywood has been telling me and these Hollywood celebrities I like, is this really true? Or is there an agenda here? Career politicians. Career politicians are the parasite that litters the floor of the third dimension. That's what a career politician is. They are a parasite. They create nothing of their own and they feast off your tax energy, your life force energy. So you stop when you believe, when your life is governed by them, you stop and you go, is this really true? Corporate America, for the most part, is not your friend. You stop and you go, is this really true? And when we stop and we ask ourselves that question, is this really true? What we find out is almost nothing about the world that you thought was true is actually true. Whoa! Let's rewind that. When you start asking yourself these questions, is this really true? What you find is most of everything that you thought was true actually isn't true. And this is the place of the unknown, the process of waking up that scares most people, because then you find out that most people are robots controlled. Their operating system is controlled by other people. And then all of a sudden you wake up and it becomes a little uncomfortable for a minute. But it's only uncomfortable when you go back to step number one and you identify yourself as body and you identify yourself as mind and you identify yourself as the opinions that other people have of you and you identify yourself by the approval of other people and you identify yourself by the material world and the story in your head and the feelings that you feel with regards to your identity, your significance, what other people think of you, and the approval that they have of you and your ideas. But once you let go of that, then you transform. Be not conformed to the world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind. Trans means beyond. Trans is beyond and form. Moving beyond form. Transform. The transformation of your mind. And when that happens, you find out you have free will. Nobody controls you. You have all this spiritual energy and all this spiritual power because that's all you are. You're seeing my body right now, but I'm really a massive energy moving at a very high speed of vibration, and so are you. You're really a field of energy. You're a pattern field of energy that extends far beyond your own body. But our pattern field of energy is controlled at a frequency pattern by other people. It's like being in the car and tuning the radio knob to a station that you highly dislike, or letting other people that used to be in the car, letting their old stations play even though you don't like them. Let's say you had your brother in the car, your brother likes country, you don't like country, you want to listen to jazz, but then you drop your brother off, but you keep the country music on. No, now you take control. You no longer let the outside force dictate your free will and the information and energy that's coming into your environment, your field, your mind, and your soul. You reclaim it. So you switch the radio knob, right? And then you go to jazz. And then you're like, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, yeah, yeah. And you're all hyped again, right? Well, imagine the radio broadcasting tower is your level of consciousness and dominion over your own perception. When you switch the radio knob, what you're doing is switching off the influence of mainstream media, social media. I would add to that like school, colleges, all of these types of things. Trust the experts in general. Government agencies, Hollywood, trust the experts and celebrities, right? Trust the educated. When we turn the radio knob, we shift back to our own frequency pattern, and that's the key to freedom. Number 3 You have not programmed your mind. So this is the third sign that you sold your soul and you don't know it, is that you haven't reprogrammed your mind. Because once you discover all that, and then you learn about what psychologists, so stick with me on this, right? We're getting a little deep. I know the video's getting along, but stick with me here. If you're enjoying this video so far, just give yourself a little stretch break by taking your finger on your mouse pad and clicking the like button on this video. Instead of standing up and stretching, you can stretch out your finger in your brain. Just hit the like button on this video if you're enjoying it so far. So anyways, you haven't reprogrammed your mind. Once we find out that there's a war for our mind and our soul, and that all of this reality is basically about disconnecting us with God, with spirit, and our true self, and that we've grown up in this world, and that our worldview has been shaped by mainstream media, social media algorithms, government agencies, Hollywood, career politicians, which are the parasites of third dimension, corporate America, experts, adults, all these things. And that's built up for many years and become the operating system of your subconscious. Once we realize that, we have to reprogram our mind. So once you go through the wake up stage, then you disidentify with yourself as mind, the approval of others, the opinions of others, the attachment to who you thought you were, and you let go of all that. You step into the unknown. And the unknown is like a clean slate. It's like deleting the entire operating system off your supercomputer, and then you have to reinstall a new one. So I started reinstalling a new system. I started asking myself, who am I really? What do I want? And I decided to drop out of college. I backpacked around the world. I wrote this whole book about it. I decided I was going to be a writer. I was going to talk about all the consciousness and all these cool things. And I was going to figure out a way to make this my career. And so I realized I needed to build a new operating system. So I started hypnotizing myself, because 95% of your life is subconscious. Sub means below. So 95% of your life is below the level of conscious awareness. You're unaware it's happening. And that's what controls your thoughts, your habits, and your behaviors that govern your entire life in the third dimension. They govern how you're programmed. Governs your financial life, your happiness. It governs your health, your relationships, your career success, your happiness, your fulfillment, all of it. It's controlled like that. And that's why most people live very mediocre, average lives, because the control system of the world, the homeostasis, the mainstream operating system isn't set to make you free, happy, or to make you spiritually awake. It's set to make you just tread water enough that you keep going down the control system. So right there down below is my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's in the description and pinned to the comments. So I started using this every single day. My life was changed in amazing ways. I went from a 19-year-old college dropout to publishing books with the #1 English publishing company in the world, Penguin Random House, getting endorsed by Jack Canfield, the creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, Bob Proctor, all these crazy things. All of a sudden, I'm speaking at hundreds and hundreds of high schools and colleges. My YouTube channel is going viral and all these crazy things because I started reprogramming my mind. And you can use that right there down below. It's free. It's jakeshypnosis.com, pinned to the comments and in the description. But here's the key takeaway on this. You've sold your soul, and more importantly, control over your destiny if you do not reprogram your mind. So it's time to update your operating system and reprogram your mind. Okay, so the fourth and final way that you may have sold your soul, and you don't even know it, is that you do not realize that you even are a soul. So you've sold your soul unconsciously if you don't even realize you are a soul. You aren't a body. You use a body the same way you use a rental car when you go to Austin, Texas, or New York City, or Louisiana, Baton Rouge, or San Diego, California. You rent the car, it's not yours, you just use it for the experience as a vehicle. Your body is a vehicle you're using as a spiritual experience to learn certain spiritual lessons and ultimately to reconnect to God again, to spirit again, to self as soul. You're a spiritual being in a physical body. You are not a physical body, and your physical body isn't even physical because the physical world is made up of atoms. Atoms are 99.999% empty space, but atoms are made up of particles and subatomic particles, and these things are made up of energy. So all of the seemingly physical reality is just energy moving at a very high speed of vibration. The speed, just like you calculate the speed of a car, is through miles per hour or kilometers per hour. Well, the way you calculate the speed of the physical reality, the way it's defined, is through the speed of light. So energy is moving at the speed of light in different frequency patterns that give it the appearance of it being solid, of it being held up in this world of form, this physical world, this bandwidth of visible light. It's just energy moving at the speed of light. So all it is just different energy patterns, but there's one originating source of energy. That source of energy, you can call it God, the divine mind, the divine matrix, the universe, spirit. Alan Watts says you can't get wet by the word water, so let's not get hung up on the word. But once you have that shift, which can happen instantly, it's not an 87-step process that you have to do. It happens instantly when you shift your attention right now inwards to the kingdom of heaven within, and you start to view yourself as in this world, but not of this world. So once you bring your attention to self as soul, and you surrender to God and reconnect to spirit, you then pull yourself out of the spiritual battle. This is called SATORI. SATORI in Eastern traditions is a moment of awakening that occurs like that. Remember, it's not an 87-step process. It happens right now. When you start to basically have a bird's eye view on this reality and you're no longer attached to it as the reality. You now see it for what it is. It's an illusion. In Buddhism, they call it Maya, the world of illusion. This world is called the world of Maya. It's the world of illusion because it's just energy moving at a very high speed of vibration at the speed of light, so it appears to be real. It's not really real. We just think it's real. We're told that it's real by mainstream media, social media, government agencies, Hollywood, career politicians, corporate America, establishment religions, etc., etc., etc. So it gets programmed into us so long. And then that's how this whole human history cycle repeats, where the few always try to control the many by suppressing this information, capturing their mind, then coming for their soul. But here's the good news. Instantly, you can reclaim your soul, your sovereignty, and your own destiny. And it begins by taking a nice deep breath, my friend. Come on, nice deep one like this. And you do one more, nice deep breath. And when you take that nice deep breath, it starts to create that little separation from your identification to self as body, how your body feels, and just take inventory. Go through your tips of your toes to the hair on your head. Are you clenching your toes or your finger or your jaw or your point between your eyebrows? A lot of people clench their toes. Just bring your attention to where you're holding tension. Bring your attention to where you're holding tension and just take a breath and let it go. You might hold it in your butt. Wonder where they get that term tight ass from, right? People clench in their neck. So let it go. You are not a body. This is your vehicle. You're already forgiven. You're already made in the image of God. You're already one with God. You're already one with the spiritual storehouse power of the universe, the divine matrix. You're already one with it. Now, as you let go and you disidentify with the old habitual thoughts and behaviors, that's when you become free. All right, so if you enjoyed today's episode, you know what to do. We're talking about some deep stuff here. So when you hit the like button, give me a comment down below. It helps the good old YouTube algorithm to share this important message. Copy and paste this and share it on Facebook, social media, Twitter. Text it to some friends. Let's spread the message, spread the word. This is the Great Awakening. If you haven't yet, make sure that you check out my free success hypnosis right there down below. It's Jake's Hypnosis. It's my free success hypnosis to start reclaiming your mind. Like I said, first they come for your mind, then your soul. Once we're aware of this, we can start to reprogram our mind so we can create and manifest your true destiny. Make sure you hit the bell notification on this video to get notified for future episodes. Check out another video. Thank you for being here. Love and appreciate you. Take a deep breath. All is well.